Hello, Fred Garvin reporting for duty, and that duty is critiquing Saturday Night Live. I am a sketch writer-performer for many years, and I think I have a good perspective and can talk critically, constructively, hopefully, about Saturday Night Live. This is Season 41, Episode 17, hosted by Russel Crowe. The cold opening was a Hillary Clinton ad where she was talking about her recent losing streak. She lost 7 states in a row to Bernie Sanders, and the New York primary was coming up, so she was in New York, her home, as she called it, except for Arkansas and Chicago, and kind of, kissing ass to New Yorkers, wearing the Yankees hat and eating a hot dog, or pretending to eat a hot dog. It was pretty good. This is a good opening. It was tight. Had some good physicality in it, with her trying to get into the subway. Her card didn't work, so she attempted to climb over. Didn't work so well. So, good opening. Up next was the monologue with Russel Crowe, and he kind of did an opposite thing where he said he's known for his comedy, so the show should be easy to do. And then he played some clips from his movies. I think one of them was Gladiator, battle scene, and Beautiful Mind, I think it was. Serious movies, and they'd cut back and he'd be laughing. And he had really good delivery, good job. Nice, short monologue. Didn't involve any cast members or questions from the audience or people coming out in costumes or song and dance, nothing like that. So I liked it. Up next was a pre-tape commercial, Preparation H commercial, which actually took a real long time to get funny. It was very serious for a long time, and then the jokes came. The joke being that a guy in a bar with some friends suffering from a hemorrhoid, and a stranger comes up and recommends Preparation H, and I guess apparently he ran out and got Preparation H in like a minute and applied it, and then came back to his friends at the table. The stranger came up and asked him how he was doing, if the Preparation H he told him to get was working, and the guy was kind of like, shut up. So it was kind of an interesting, clever concept. It got a little exaggerated, and there was no real twist to it. I think maybe a good twist would have been one of his friends at the dinner table could have been recognized by the stranger as somebody who recommended maybe some erectile dysfunction drugs or Vagisil or something else embarrassing. They could have kind of turned it around. So, yeah, it was all right.
That's a dilly of a pickle.
Up next was a political show with Keenan as Reverend Al Sharpton. I guess it's Al Sharpton's show. I've never seen it. Mispronouncing words, kind of funny. And then he invited his statistician out. Speaking of mispronouncing words, he brought his statistician out, who was Reverend Al Sharpton, and commented about how he thought he lost weight, and, it was kind of cute. They talked about approval ratings among the candidates, with Trump being very negative. And it was kind of fun, decent, not great. I think they probably could have had a better sketch in there. Maybe Al Sharpton was available and they had to write something really quick. So it didn't offend me. That's my new scale. It didn't offend me. Up next we had a Henry VIII hologram, which is actually in a museum setting. that you could ask questions. It was interactive, which is actually a really clever premise. He did seem a little fixated on the women to bear him a son, because he never had a son. And that was kind of funny. Then it got a little confused. He just kept doing the same joke over and over, and then he needed to be rebooted, and he was trying to grab one woman's breasts, 80s breasts, and it just kind of was there. It was a kind of a funny idea. It didn't have that extra twist, juxtaposition. It didn't have the extra something to make it a sketch. It just kind of was a little bit of funny stuff. I don't know how to explain it. And then it ended, and they put the applause sign up, and that was it. My group would not have done this. Inevitably, if I turned the sketch in one person, they would all be probably thinking it. Well, it'd be incomplete. And we wouldn't have done it. We would have maybe thought about it a lot, added something, maybe a twist, maybe another hologram comes out. Something, it just needed something. It was, I think this was unformed. Up next we had Matchfinders, definitely a dating game parody where a woman had 3 bachelors answering questions, 2 kind of regular guys, interesting characters, and then Russel Crowe was kind of an old German guy. His character was actually really, really good. That was the best thing in the sketch. His whole premise was he grew up in a house full of women, and he would just go straight to the really dirty answer, which was actually kind of funny, a little refreshing. They played that out a few times, and in the end, Cecily went with the old German guy because he sounded interesting, and it was all right. Just kind of a parody, an exaggerated parody, I guess.
What a dirty, filthy mind you got.
Up next was Weekend Update, but before I get into that, Margot Price, never heard of her before, had no idea who she was, and I saw the old-style Sun Records microphone, and then a woman singing really nice country music. Got a voice like Dolly Parton. They had a slide guitar, piano player. They had a guitar solo. That was pretty cool. I like how they did something a little different. So anyway, Weekend Update. Jokes were good, as always. Jokes are good. They seem to really excel at that. 2 special guests. Dina, just kind of a woman talking about the OJ television show, or not talking about it actually, going off on tangents. Probably somebody's mother, aunt, one of the writers, who cracks them up, but it doesn't really translate to television. I don't know. Could have did without it. Second one was a guy who was talking about women in sports, kind of a New York Italian guy. It got very dramatic and sad, and like you're supposed to feel sorry for him. Another one which, an imitation of a character that they know, that doesn't really translate to television. I would have dropped both these characters and let Margot sing another song, or whatever, or anything would have been better. So, good jokes, special guests, as usual, not very fond of the special guest. Okay, up next was 100 Days in the Jungle, a definite Survivor knockoff. They did the episode they always do on Survivor when after several days they have a loved one come out. One had a mother come out, one had a wife come out, and the third one had his uncle's friend come out who he barely knew, which was kind of funny because he had a lot of brothers and sisters, parents who had something that they couldn't move, which was kind of funny. Then they did a challenge, and it was all right. And then they just kind of ended it after the friend's uncle won by eating a duck vagina faster than the other people could eat their delicacies. So, hey, I don't know. There should have been a lot more to this. It was short, which usually I like short, but there wasn't a lot to it. Maybe it needed something more. I don't know what that more is. I think it was an unformed idea.
That's a dilly of a pickle.
A pre-taped Chuck E. Cheese type thing. Two guys who are obviously big fans of, I believe it was Poggy's Pizza, got a job there. And they were just freaking out that they got to keep the shirt, that the uniform shirt. And they got to meet the guy that played Poggy Pizza, the guy that took his mascot head off, and they met him. And they were given tokens to play games, and they were just freaking out, which is kind of cute. They both did really good characters, good nerdy super fans. It ended when they met the owner, and their heads exploded. And then there was a memoriam for him on the little graphic. At first, I didn't... I watched this, and then I was like shaking my head, but then the more I thought about it, the more I liked it. It's not a sketch. It was just two funny characters. I couldn't fault anything. The characters were good. The writing was good. It was tight. It was filmed very good. I can't not like anything about it. Maybe I didn't like that it wasn't a traditional sketch, but maybe I got to loosen up on that a little. I'm working on it. So yeah, I liked it. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, we had a dating game parody, a Survivor parody, and this wasn't really a parody, but it had a lot of Chuck E. Cheese. At least that's what we have in our area, showbiz pizza type thing. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm hankering for a traditional old sketch. Up next we had Leslie playing a ninja and thwarting some Russians capturing Vanessa and having her tied to the chair. I love the tying to the chair. It's such a good place to go back to. So the joke of this was that even though we could see Leslie hiding against a wall and moving behind them, the Russians couldn't because she was a ninja. So I guess there was a little humor there. Russel Crowe, who has not really been in this show like every single sketch, his acting was terrible in this. And I think the director should have worked on that. It was really bad. His other characters were really good, but he really stunk in this one. I think if he was in my group, he would have been directed, hopefully, to get better. And if he couldn't, and if this was all he had, then if this was all I had, I would have been replaced. So, yeah. But it was a pretty decent sketch. Not great. Kind of one joke, and then it ended. Up next was a pre-taped, quote-unquote, film. I don't know what this was. It was kind of the life story of Oprah played by a white guy. I really don't know what it was. So I'm confused. It didn't offend me, but it really confused me. It was just kind of the joke of, it's not Oprah, it's a white dude. And that was it. But, well, it was in the last sketch death position. So it died. Anyway, that was the show. Russel Crowe was on and off, mostly on. Some really good characters. One stinker. Had some good presence. Some good comedy timing in most things. And I really like Margot Price. Love me some steel guitar, lap, steel guitar, lap, guitar, lap solos. So, that's it. See you next time. I'm Fred Garvin.